what made you want to go all in on Web3 with the fund? Was it your excitement and passion from getting the toes wet in everything we've just talked through? Is it something with the technology that you think is going to be revolutionary? What really led to that?
So the first thing I knew was that Web3 was going to change the world, right? So I saw Web 1 happen. I saw Web 2 happen. And as soon as I knew about Web3, I knew, okay, this is going to be the biggest revolution in human history. And then when I went deep, specifically with NFTs through Proof, I selected NFTs as the specific vertical that I would focus on. And as I went deeper and deeper and deeper with Proof and Moonbirds and the entire community, I knew that there was so much value to be created. And so I think when I decided to launch a fund and then specifically to focus on NFTs, so we're not going to do anything else. We're not going to do equity investing. We're not going to buy any cryptocurrencies. It's pure NFTs. I knew that I was in the right place at the right time to do that, right? Where essentially I've got, 2 decades of experience as a CEO founder, and then I've got experience building Proof, and then experience launching Moonbirds. I just knew that I happened to be, and it's not because I think I'm amazing. It's that I'm just the right person at the right moment to launch, I think, a great NFT fund that can spot upcoming projects and deploy capital in the best upcoming projects. And so it was interesting to launch it. So, I decided to call it 1.21 gigawatts fund because I love Back to the Future. And if you happen to be watching this video, you might see I've got, the license plate from the DeLorean and various Lego sets. And then my wife had the idea of calling the tagline, the fund you wish you could go back in time and invest in. So it's a bit of fun. So nice. Picked 121G as the name. And then, when we announced it on the 24th, I thought maybe I would get, 20 investors and, and it would be a small fund and I would just kind of build it and kind of work. But the interest was overwhelming. We completely filled the fund in 7 days and raised over $40 million. And I had to close the fund because there was so much interest. And I think what that means is everyone realizes now is the time, right? And the problem is unless you spend your, 10 hours a day researching NFTs, it becomes very hard to pick the right projects. And so I think a lot of folks that are investing in the fund are passionate about NFTs, but they just know they don't have, literally 50 hours a week to research and vet and pick the right projects. So, we're going to start deploying capital in July. My goal is to focus on 3 pillars. I'll walk you through them really fast. So
please.
I think the fund is going to be between 14 and 17,000 ETH, and 55% of that is going to be focused on what I call Pillar 1, which is vetted, high-quality teams launching new projects. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify 12 projects over the next 12 months that have experienced, fully doxed teams, and then I'm going to interview them, have a real call with them and ask them, what's your experience? What's your plan? What's your treasury plan? What's your hiring plan? How are you going to roll out your OKRs and your KPIs and really vet them? And once they meet my guidelines, then we're going to deploy between 500 and 700 ETH on mint day. And then the plan is to hold, right? So I'm going to meet with the teams every month, ask them if I can unblock them, support them, connect them, but also hold them accountable. How are you doing to your OKRs? How are you doing to your KPIs? And really understand how the project is doing.
Yeah. Now that sounds very different than how a lot of NFT teams and developers are really going through the motions right now. I mean, I would imagine that they might not even all have OKRs and KPIs. They may not be thinking about how they're working with investors, right? So do you see that as potentially being a roadblock, or maybe
it's a good roadblock?
Your vision is, it could be a good roadblock. I guess maybe also as the NFT space matures, those kinds of questions and expectations could be the new standard.
Yeah, and they should be the standard, right? It's ridiculous that projects are expecting folks to deploy, $3,000 into an unknown digital asset with no backing, no plan, no experience. It's crazy, right? And we're going to stay a million miles away from, anonymous teams and teams with no experience. So yes, it's a roadblock, but it's actually a good one. I want our bar to be really high. And I think Moonbirds set a playbook that's going to be repeated, right? So we'll have more vetted, fully doxed teams coming into the space, building communities first, right? So not PFPs, but they're going to be building communities first, and then launching projects into those communities. Those are the kind of projects that we want to back. And I think we'll see more mint prices at, the 2 ETH mark. And then I think we'll see more secondary mint day prices at that 5 to 7 ETH mark, and we'll see this playbook repeat, which is good. It's good for the whole industry. It's good for the projects. It's good for holders. It's good for investors. It's good for founders. It's good. Yeah.
And what else? You mentioned there's 3 pillars. Did you want to touch on pillar 2 and 3 as well?
Yeah. So pillar 1 is at least 55% of the capital. So it's the majority. And then about 15% of the capital is going towards one-of-ones. So I really, really believe in high quality, long-term artists. And I don't think those artists need to have a roadmap. I think that they are talented artists building a community around their art. And I think one-of-ones from those artists are extremely valuable and wonderful and beautiful. And so, I'm fortunate to have really good connections with some of the world's best artists. And so I just had a meeting with one of them and agreed to acquire one of their one-of-ones and then hold it. So we're going to acquire and hold very, very beautiful, very rare one-of-ones from those artists. So excited to do that. And there's 5 or 6 artists on that list. And then the third pillar is proof. I believe in proof. I know what's going on with proof, and I've never had more conviction on a team in my whole life, right? So we're going to deploy pretty heavy capital into the proof ecosystem. And I'm really, really excited about that.
You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the metaverse.